Xtra is hosted by Kyle and Ajay. Each week, they discuss Nigeria's current events and latest news. Thanks for joining and for being a part of this conversation. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow, and share. Keep the conversation going as we give you something extra. News you can use. Xtra is an Icon production. Welcome.
Yo, how are you, man?
Yeah, one of these weeks, we keep saying there's going to be some good news coming out of Nigeria, but
Yeah, I mean, like we're really trying to get it out there, but yeah,
it's
it's
it's doing it to itself. I mean, man.
yeah, yeah. In case you're tuning in for the first time, my name is AJ. This is Kyle, and we decided to kind of have a session where we go over the Nigerian news every week. Just so many things have just been happening within Nigeria that constantly we ask ourselves a lot of questions about what is going on, and we're trying to figure out just really what is going on. And we decided to do extra. So this is
Well, we
just
already were doing extra. We're doing extra news. You
doing
can use the
extra
email
news. You can use the
every
email.
Monday. It's just
Yep.
called news you can use, right? So this is the extra. You're right. Good. I took it. So news you can use comes out on Monday. It's an email we put out. It's just we kind of glean the headlines that are coming out of Nigeria. And then this comes out end of the week. We try to go deeper into the news and just kind of give our own take and see what else has been saying about these things. And unfortunately, the news keeps rolling
I don't
and
know.
rolling.
Yeah. 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 And what we are trying to do is we're trying to get people to tweet articles and stuff at us, just so that we can talk about them here on the show in case we might have missed anything interesting that has been happening in Nigeria. But that's just why we're here today. All right. And this week has just been a crazy week. Man, so much has happened, and in just the saddest way. It's just been a hard week. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there's no other way to do this with all the things that are happening in Nigeria. The world is not even focused in on Nigeria. The world is focused on Ukraine and Russia and occasionally China and occasionally North Korea and what have you. But Nigeria could be silent. Could use this time of sort of silence to do better, to get better, to improve, but
yeah,
it's not happening.
And I think that that's just the frustrating part with it, about how you see the potential and you know that it's there, and it's like, man, if people could just come together, if the government could just kind of focus on these things, I don't know.
It's not even coming together. This sort of unity, and we don't. It's not like Republicans, Democrats here. APC, PDP are basically the same thing, but just different shirts on, right? So it's all, it's who's in power and what are they saying, how they're controlling the narrative. But at the same time, great, you're in power. Do something about it. You got less than a year left. Face the music. Do some changes. Fuel prices are out of hand. Not only in Nigeria, but around the world. I'll give you that. Give you fuel prices, but address it. Do something. The schools are on strike. Okay, great. Do something. Talk. Just figure out a solution. No, and an ongoing crisis, the ongoing killings of innocent people in Northeast and Northwest and the Middle Belt and the Southeast.
Yeah,
nothing.
Yeah,
barely a glimmer of hope coming from Nigeria.
And it's and that's why like the tracker that we have is so important, because it's until you actually go and look at it before it all starts to make sense to you about how the numbers just add up, the amount of loss of life. Last week we were talking about just how many lives were lost between, I think, January and this month, up to this month, and that's why we have to keep on asking questions, saying, well, if the government keeps on saying everything is going to be taken care of, everything is fine, then, why is it every time that is said that it's like something worse, something just totally egregious happens even more,
I don't think they're saying it's going to be fine. They're just saying we got it under control. And have they ever proven that they've had it under control?
But that's
I
not
will say
fine.
no.
That's not fine.
That's what I'm saying. They never said it's fine. They said they have it under control. So I'll take the words out of your mouth and say they've said they have it under control. That's not. And you're right. It's not fine. Let's go to the first article before we get too lost in the translation here. So again, it's an election year, not this year, but next year. And right now, AEP, APC, and PDP are running primaries to see who's going to be the president.
Mm-hmm.
So the headline of this article is Nigeria's Buhari tells cabinet ministers planning election runs to resign. So anyone who's in his cabinet that he picked, any appointees that he's put in there, they have to resign, and then they can go about their merry business of campaigning for president and governor and whatever else you're going to do.
Yeah. So I honestly, like, part of my first reaction of reading this particular article was like, okay, maybe that is a good thing. And then later it was like, I don't know, because why is it like at this time that is what would be said to like some of like the cabinet members? Like, is it that he doesn't trust some of his cabinet members too, or
I think it's incorporated in this electoral law that they have, that they to be, to have a free and fair election in the eyes of the world.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm campaigning, if I'm on this cabinet, I'm the Minister of Defense or whatever, I can't be running a presidential campaign at the same time. That's just impossible. I mean, that happens here in the States as well. So if you're a senator and you want to run for president, you have to formally resign, and then you can run. So it's legal, but at the same time, it shouldn't even be a headline. I mean, the reason we kind of include this, it's kind of a joke, right? There's no reason that it should be in there. That's why you were laughing before, I think, because the primaries are underway. If you've bought the ballot, again, to get on a ballot of a senator or president, it's almost $250,000 just to be able to put. You have to give that to the party, the APC or PDP officials, just to get your name considered.
Yeah.
So there's 20. I don't know if there's 10 or 20 names. That's close to $4 or $5 million.
Yeah.
For what?
Yeah.
We don't know. We ask tough questions. We don't expect answers.
and literally that is just to get on the ticket. So
just get on the ballot, and you could be dropped off. So this week you could buy your ability to run, and then next week they're gonna come and say, "Well, we appreciate your commitment, but we're going to go with this guy. So can you please remove your name?" So you've lost it. There's no return. There's no refund. Mm-hmm. It's gone.
Yeah. Just to get on the ballot, that's $250,000.
It's almost $250,000. It's 100 million naira, which is, if you depending on what exchange. Again, living in Nigeria, if you have $100 bill, you can get $550 per $1. $550 naira per $1. But if you go into a bank, they're going to give you $410, $450, maybe $420. So where are you going with that money? But anyways, that's a lot of money, regardless. I thought this wasn't in this article, but I wanted to point out that there was a survey going around that, and this is interesting, 70% of Nigerians reported an interest in leaving the country in 2021. So if you're going to poll Nigerians, before it was probably, I said 2019, the last time they did this poll, 35%. People were happy. Mm-hmm. Not happy like this is the best country in the world, but they're content sticking around. Mm-hmm. That's double. Yeah. In 2 years, it's double. People are afraid to be in Nigeria. Kidnappings on the road, on the train, planes, threat of being shut down because there's no fuel.
Well, see, like that's what, again, I don't understand, because that's an opportunity for the government, to say that, all right, these are issues that you're having. We can solve them, and we can. I mean,
stop. You're putting too much hope where it's misplaced. Okay, I mean, I'm not even sure the next elections are going to happen. If they do happen, I don't think it's going to be a peaceful election. Again, my hope and prayer for sure is electoral laws, great, helping to put transparency, put INEC the electoral commission in charge, funding them, so they're kind of away from the ruling government, that they can do this free and fair. But all that's good on paper, but in practice, without zoning, again, I go back to this. You could say it's not written down anywhere that it's legal, that there has to be zoning. But if there isn't a Southeast candidate on any of the tickets, it's not gonna bode well for the country. And even still, if there is one and they don't get elected, say if PDP puts a Southeast representative and APC doesn't, and the election comes down and the Southeast doesn't win, there could be trouble. I mean, you hope and pray there won't be, but there could be trouble.
Yeah, but like I do feel that I don't really care. Like,
yeah, you do care. Man.
No, well, like I'm saying that I don't really care like where the president comes from, the next leader. But what I am more concerned about is whether the leader is just going to be like a selfless leader, because I feel that what Nigeria needs to see is just the possibility that kind of future that they want is possible. There is a way that everyone can live fairly, freely, everyone is happy and they get all of what they need. But until that happens, or until people see that it's possible, then that's just where people start to hesitate, and they feel that they need to leave because everybody wants to be in a place where they can grow. But if
people aren't looking for greener pastures overseas, they're just looking for security, for stability, just to be alive. It's not even the fact. It used to be, well, to get education, a good quality education, I have to leave the country, and Nigeria to some extent promoted that back in the in the 70s and whatever, But now it's like, just to survive, I got to get out of here. I have to leave this country, and that's not a good thing.
And just before we go to our next article, I do remember talking with somebody about this issue too, and what they were kind of telling me was the fact that that they tried to do certain things in Nigeria and it just didn't work. From trying to establish your organization and going through the processes that are put in, it is like the process itself works against you. It's like, how are you supposed to, So, I mean, is it worth it when at the tail end of calculating, probably I can do this and probably make more somewhere else?
Yeah.
Like it's just a trap here. So that's why I feel it's an opportunity for the government, if they can just realize that and stop working against the people that they should be serving and instead trying to empower them,
Yeah. I mean, you're limiting government because when they come in, they don't always represent the people. They represent their own interests, their own network of people who put them in power. So slowly got to pay them back, keep them happy. And that's the wrong premise right away from the get-go. Once you feel you have to return favors for putting someone in power, you've lost sense of the position. Your chief servant, president, person who serves the country. We understand there's some perks, there's some values to it, but at the same time, a lot of responsibility. Responsibility.
Yeah.
All right, enough of the government. AJ, you keep your hope. Keep hope alive, man. Keep hope alive.
Yes. I know that the government can do it, but
not this government, but a government can do it. Let's qualify that. Terror group Islamic State releases a video showing execution of 20 Nigerian Christians to avenge killing of leaders in the Middle East. Again, this is where you start to say, what is going on?
This one to me was like a curveball because this just came out of like, they are
Well, the thing is, so we don't know when this came. When were these assassinations? And we really haven't seen the bodies. This was posted on an IS-linked news outlet, and
there was the video. People heard them speaking Hausa.
Yeah, but we don't know if it was just recently or it happened a couple months ago or whatever. They just released it or whatever, and it happened. Right. So this was verified by Link Intelligence, who puts out, they're not a Nigerian organization, they're an international organization who follows and tracks terror groups, mostly in Asia, but they verify that this video was authentic and that it happened. but again, Islamic State in Nigeria, operational. You know, this you had wanted to talk about the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres coming to Nigeria, meeting with the governor of Borno State, meeting with the president, saying Nigeria is improving so well. They're getting so much. You know, they're on the path. They're making leaps and bounds. But this article comes out and blows that up.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's why, like, I'm outraged about his report. I also read some other articles where some of the religious leaders, certain individuals, they were saying, "Who did you talk to?" You know, because
yeah, exactly. Who did you talk to?
You know, because we could take it to places where, you know, people that have been victims of a lot of these killings are, and you can talk to them and listen to what they have to say. But it was like, I don't know whether he just strolled around Abuja and then went back.
No, he was in Borno. Listen, he went to Borno State.
Okay.
He went to Borno State. The governor welcomed him. Babagana Zulum welcomed him, showed him around, showed him some reformed or repentant former, what do you call them, terrorists, that they're on the path to recover. Again, I am not opposed to that. We want every possibility to reintegrate and work with them. Those who've left the terrorism world, they were duped, they were lied to, whatever. Great. Yeah. Let's work at that. Yeah. But at the same time, we've got to be cautious. We've got to be careful. Are they doing it authentically? Are they going to do something once they get out? And they, you know, there's rumors that some of them are being used by the military, put into places of with the army, with the other security forces. I don't think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah. So again, these things, you're right. I mean, where were the Christians from Borno State? You know, these 20 that were killed, decapitated on video. Where are the families? Why weren't they talked to about, you know, when the UN Secretary General came to Nigeria? You know, all these things. Maybe some developments happen. Maybe it said 40,000 fighters and the families have rehabilitated, whatever. But that's not the end of it, because it's still going on. If people are being killed, if people are being kidnapped, if people are being beheaded, and what have you.
But then even that is another issue again. Is the rehabilitation process working? Is it just because somebody suggested it that now it has to work? But I mean, is it really working for the people? And then like, what about justice itself? You know, like
we talked about this.
Yeah,
we talked about this last week too. We talked about, okay, is there a you know, the South African had the court of truth and reconciliation, where someone would be accused, they'd come up, they'd relate, but they wouldn't have to go, they wouldn't be charged. There was no criminal activity, but it's mostly speak it, hear it, confess it, admit it, and move on. Great, that works. In some cases, it was terrible, awful. Some of these things should have been criminally charged, but it did. We're not hearing any of that coming out of these supposedly repentant terrorists, right? So what are those means? What are those objectives? What are those goals? What are those outcomes of these repentant? What are they? We don't know. Going through a course, just because you tick the boxes and cross the T's and dot the I's, does that make them repentant? Does that make them reformed? No, because the next guy comes around and says, well, I've got 50,000 naira here and I want you to go and blow up the market. Okay. I don't think there's much questioning that. So
I mean, like, people get put maybe like prison for X amount of years for stealing something, but this is terror again, and then all you get is just a rehabilitation program and then a slap on the wrist to say that we forgive you, and then that's it. You know, like that. I mean, that's just my own calculation to kind of knowing how justice and all other courts work. But in this case, like, I think up to a level to bring in the fear of knowing that there is a consequence for these actions, and anyone that agrees to get into these actions will be held accountable. I think it's, you know, you should
Well, again,
you
it
should be treated
depends, but there
a
should
certain
be
way.
something happening with this. So it's not very transparent. Whatever it is, whatever the process, who gets screened, who gets welcomed, what they're going through. It's not that we have to know the location. We don't have to know
Yeah.
the names, but what does it all entail? We heard about this back when the in the South on the Delta, when all the militants were kidnapping, killing, and doing all the things there. There's a supposed rehabilitation thing. Again, great, but tell us what's going on. Give us some information. We don't have to have every person's testimony and proof that they're being rehabilitated, but give us some hint of what's going on, because without it, you're leaving people in the dark, and they're gonna make up stories of themselves. Well, the worst is that if a Muslim becomes a Christian or a Christian becomes a Muslim, do they welcome into their opposite fold right away?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Never,
Mm-hmm.
not always. I was gonna say never, but not always. They
Mm-hmm.
tend to look at them kind of skeptically. Well, maybe he became a Muslim to infiltrate us. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
that person became a Christian to infiltrate us, learn all our secrets, and then.
Yeah.
But if we don't, because they don't know, we're
Yeah.
not being told what's happening. Same with
Yeah.
these repentant terrorists. We don't know
Yeah.
what's going on with them. We don't know if
Yeah.
they're really repentant. What's
Yeah.
the truth there? So again, it reminds. So I found this funny too. It's not this article, but I think the Kaduna State Governor Arafai met with some of the I still don't know how many are kidnapped, the victims of the train. It could be over
Yeah.
40, could be up to
Mm-hmm.
100. We don't even know how many are still out there.
Mm-hmm.
But I forget what was he, the Minister of Transport or something. He came out and started. He was being talked to. He was welcoming the Chinese representative. The Chinese are building everything in Nigeria. In fact, I think they built the railway from Abuja to Kaduna. So he's lambasting the Chinese. What are you guys doing? You're not helping us. What do you don't come out and speak out against the kidnappings. You don't do all this stuff.
They were like, we've already built the train and everything for you. It was working when we left.
But he's right there. But that's what I'm saying. On the flip side, he's trying to say, look, here's an international incident, right? This is on a Chinese trail that you guys helped to build, and I'm trying to get you guys to put it in your media, talk about it, help us, console with the families, whatever. But it wasn't misplaced. It was just kind of interestingly placed.
Yeah. I mean, up to a certain level, I kind of feel that, they saw that the insecurity was not being handled a particular way too. I mean, he is the governor, and he is saying, like, I don't know, I don't have the support that I need. Is that like what he's saying?
So it's
the
chairman. So it's a senator. Sorry, I get it wrong. I gotta get it. Senator Buhari. He's not Buhari's relative by any means. He's a Kaduna State senator. So he's talking to the Chinese developers, the Chinese government, telling them, "Hey, show concern for us. Help us. We've got these people that were kidnapped. There was attacked. You've not posted anything. You've not criticized it. You've not come out against it. Whatever. You're not doing anything to console with us again."
Mm-hmm.
So I just thought it was kind of funny that we're again, could be right by asking this, but he's taking it and showing the Chinese. He wants to take it out into the world and show people that, hey, this is what happened. We need all support. We need all sort of encouragement.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. So, anyways,
definitely. I feel anyone with a voice that has a voice should be speaking about these issues, because clearly, a lot of people don't have voices. People that are in the situation in Nigeria just constantly feel like no one is listening to what they are going through, and no one is just really paying attention to it. But we will continue to speak for them, and we'll get the word out there. So,
all right, this next one is probably the worst. I mean, this one's making its headway as we speak. All day today we were getting messages, and I think you shared the video with me on what happened. An actual video of the students, laughing, killing this girl. I mean, this is So the headline is Sultan preaches religious tolerance after Sokoto thugs burnt Christian student for alleged blasphemy.
Yeah.
So they accused the girl of blasphemy against the prophet. They stoned her.
Yeah.
But that wasn't enough. She may have been dead or incapacitated, but then they set her on fire.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the reports, you're saying this too, that there was security of the school, not police and such, but coming to try to stop it. They were repelled. They couldn't do anything.
They were overwhelmed by the amount of students. So even
They
if you
filmed
watch
it, they
the
shared
yeah
it. There's boys bragging about it. This
yeah
is in Sokoto. She's a Christian going to a government college of education.
yeah
Yeah, yeah. What's the latest? There's some arrests. At first there
yeah
wasn't, but now there
yeah
were.
yeah. So apparently, I think that they have arrested two of the perpetrators, and they have them in custody, but they haven't said. I don't think that they've given any story yet. But there, I mean, if you look it up on social, like on Twitter too, like there are just different stories, a lot of pictures of the girl that they put up there, and just a little bit more information on her and what has been going on. The report does say that she did blasphemy, but
No,
I was reading in another place that she didn't. That somebody tried to
falsely
ask her
accused
out,
her.
and then they falsely accused her because she
Right.
refused to be with them. So
So it was more like
and
he was infatuated with her, and he was kind of
and he
pushed
got turned
aside.
down.
Yep.
Yeah,
So this
yeah.
headline to me spoke more than the Sultan one. Look at what it says. Lynches,
Hmm.
mob lynches Sokoto college
College
student
student
over blasphemy.
over alleged blasphemy.
What is missing is that she's a Christian. What it's
Yeah.
missing is that she's a girl. It's a female. What is missing is that I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
It's
This is something that if this happened anywhere else, this is
yeah.
again. I don't want to make the comparison to George Floyd, but this girl was killed. It wasn't the police. It was students against her, right? Fellow students, fellow classmates that she shared study breaks with, that she probably sat next to in classes, but now she's dead because
So
she.
they threw rocks on her. They beat her with heavy sticks before setting her ablaze.
Yep.
So it wasn't something that took like a minute or whatever. Like they like the crowd. Man, I mean,
And
and
that's
I
so as Sharia law goes, because Sokoto State is under Sharia law as well as the Constitution of Nigeria, which is still another argument, another discussion. But under that, there has to be a case or an instance, or somehow blasphemy has to be proven in the Sharia court. So then they bring it in, and then eventually she could have been tried for death penalty if he brings one or two witnesses or whatever. But this was instantaneous. There was no court. There was no decision. It was just mob, 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 mob.
Well, again, like that's what I don't understand. It's a school. Like normally, if anything happens to any student within a school, the school has responsibility over the student because the student is in their care to say, okay, let us find out what then actually happened.
Yeah.
Were there witnesses? Is it really, someone is just making something up? What is actually going on? But that wasn't the case.
Yeah.
Meaning that anybody could have just said what they wanted and just then say that she was the perpetrator, and then it just ends there.
And that's it, right? So there was no court case. There was no movement. It was just guilty by mob. I think it's interesting. The article did say killing over blasphemy has been a recurring crisis across northern Nigeria for years. Authorities are unable to address it. Culprits are not arrested, or if they are arrested, they're released shortly after being taken into custody.
Yeah.
So this is Wild West. This is, and that gives them courage to go and do something like this. So it wasn't just they decided, let's just stone her and burn her alive. They probably remembered other incidences, other cases where this has happened, some known, some unknown, and they know we can get away with it. It'll be fine. We'll just go ahead and do it, and then we'll take whatever. There'll be no harm, no foul. We'll be fine.
Yeah. Yeah. I like I read the article and I think of all of what we have been trying to bring awareness to about like Leah Sharibu and her own case, just then being in school, being captured by extremists, stuff like that, and just not, having people pay attention Like I know a couple of times that I've seen even on some of our postings on Leah Sharibu, people have even openly said that, you have been talking about her like for how long. She is just like a lost cause. And like I'm thinking, how can you say that upon all of what has been happening? People just continuously,
Yeah.
being kidnapped, and now this again. Like this is the kind of justice that even Leah didn't get. You know,
Well, I mean,
um,
this girl's life is over. You know, her name should be spoken, should be repeated, should be brought to the attention of so many because of what of who she was and what she stood for. Right, Deborah Emanuel. Right, that name should go down in annals of time, saying this girl sacrificed.
yeah,
She didn't deny. She didn't put up a fight, but yet she was. Yeah, killed for no for I say for no reason, for stupidity is was maybe
yeah,
what I'm trying to say. But
yeah, yeah.
and yeah, it's one of these things where these things continue to go on, and what happens with the outside world, they say, well, it's just an internal problem, they can deal with it, they can work it out. No, they need accountability. If Nigeria is allowed to have the constitution and the security and the laws on its books for everyone, but then there's a portion, 12 states, that have Sharia law kind of guiding the those Muslim dominated states. Isn't there some sort of competition? Isn't there some sort of contrast between those two, that one's going to oversee the other? It's hard to imagine. When the Sharias first came out, that was the discussion. How can you have Sharia law at the same time as a constitutional law? Doesn't make sense.
Well, like my challenge to maybe like even a lot of the other countries, is if you if you just challenge yourself to look into some of these issues, what really happens and what transpires, how some of these people lose their lives, they would be outraged even if it was to happen in some other countries. Like I don't understand how you can overlook it or just feel that it will be handled properly just because it's Nigeria. Like I feel, some way, somehow, somebody needs to be held accountable for making sure that it's held like it's done right.
Yeah.
You know,
I
because
mean, the chatter that's going on because of this girl is very similar to what happened with Leah. You brought that up. Is Leah, when she was taken captive and she wasn't returned because she didn't. The whole story was, it wasn't a rumor. It was because she did deny her faith, and they said they're going to make her slave for life. And that was all the pushback we got whenever we try to bring her name up in the State Department and USERF and all. Shh, don't, because if you keep bringing her name up, then that's going to increase the ransom. They're going to want to do all these things to keep her. So we're going to do some back channel. Nothing back channel ever happened. They never released her. The Nigerian government could have done so much at the
yeah,
time, months after, even a year after, there could have been nothing happened.
yeah,
So these kind of cases have to be brought out into the open. In fact, I'm getting emails and getting chatter all day on this article. Did you see this? Have you heard this? What's going on? How do we help? What do we do?
yeah, yeah,
Keep
and
raising our voices.
that is the thing, because like that's why like even I'm so challenged to constantly talk about Leah Sharibu, because what happened to her, it should have stopped there. But other students have been kidnapped from school the same way that she was numerous times after she was kidnapped. So, even to just be silent about it now and it's continuing, it's like, no, you know, like it hasn't stopped. And even for those that are saying, oh, don't talk about it, it's, I don't understand that too. How can you not talk about it?
Yeah,
Because what, because what has being silent about it done?
yeah.
It, it,
It's
it,
done
it has
nothing.
only, yeah, it has only allowed it to just, improve, you
Yeah,
know, and yeah, this, uh, and this is the same thing that we're talking about. Gunmen kill 1,434 Nigerians in April report. That's
this
one
is
month.
1 month. One. I mean, it's ludicrous. Think about it. 1,434 across, and this just wasn't in
Yeah.
one place. This is across Nigeria. What was the number they gave? 1,434 people killed.
Mhm.
633 were kidnapped across 109 local government areas across all the 36 states,
Yeah.
including the federal capital territory. So this isn't, again, Northeast Boko Haram, Northwest Ansaru bandits or Fulani militants, Middle Belt Fulani militants, Southeast Fulani militants, government, Southwest Fulani militants, government.
Yeah.
This has got to stop. 1,434 in 1 month.
Yeah. In a 1 month.
That's what they can report on. What they think they can report on. They may have facts to back it up, but I always say it's double that because you don't always know.
Exactly. That was even what I wanted to say. Like that's like I've already started to get used to like whenever I read an article, like in my mind, like I'm just thinking these are just the cases that were able to be
That
reported.
we know.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That were, some way, somehow somebody felt to put it out there and they could record it and they could put it down. But for those other cases where no one even knew what to do or whatever, it's like it just went quiet, you
Yeah.
know. And there are a lot of cases like that, especially if you talk with the victims, a lot of people probably have been victims numerous amounts of times, in their
Well,
villages and stuff.
yeah.
Uruguay people.
Not them victims numerous amount of times individually, but their village has been attacked every year,
Yeah.
repeatedly for 5-10 years.
And then they move over here and then attack. They move over here, attack. At the tail end, why won't you lose faith in, wanting to stay and not wanting to go somewhere else where at least you can be safe to at least farm and, raise your kids?
Yeah. I mean, if you're talking 1,434, let's round it up to like 2,000. Okay. I'm gonna comfortably say 2,000 in a month. That's 25,000 a year.
Yeah.
Isn't that too much?
Yeah.
How much is too much?
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
I mean, again, if we're gonna contrast and compare with the thing going on in Ukraine, again, it's a totally different thing. I'm not gonna sit there, but it could be is it 2,000 Ukraine or 20,000 Ukraine? I mean, how is Nigeria different? Why isn't Nigeria as important as that?
Yeah. And the worst part about like the Nigeria situation is look at the dates. Go back over 20 years.
This isn't just this year. It doesn't just last month. It's
it has been reported and reported and reported, but we just haven't given enough attention to it for people to really look into what these people are saying. And which is why like it's just heartbreaking for those of us that have been following it to hear like the like the UN and these other was it the is it the ICC?
Oh, the ICC prosecutor,
to just coming in and just saying everything is all right, like it's good, like what aren't we doing to get the word out there?
I mean, this is so you have the attack of the 20 that were killed, the beheadings. Then you have the girl who was stoned and set on fire. Then you even have the ongoing train kidnapping saga. What's going on with that? Then we have the priest guys. We had the priest that was killed when he was taken captive in March. He was killed. Then we have today or yesterday all night the Taraba State. There's a 93rd Battalion has a barracks just outside of Takum, and that was attacked, or there was some attack going around it. They came out to repel them. 6 soldiers died. The commanding officer was never heard from. Where did he go? Is he missing? Is he dead? Is he being kidnapped? So all these things are happening. Boom, 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 boom. Just as tragic as anywhere else in the world, but yet we don't hear about it. We don't pay attention to it.
Yeah. And like sometimes like I feel that with the silence and even without the attention, it is what gives a lot of the perpetrators the go ahead to continue to do what they're doing because they know no one is paying attention. No one cares.
Yep. We got away with it. We got away with it before. We'll get away with it again. It's all,
Yeah.
they
You
know
know.
that the government's not going to raise an alarm, because they do that, then they look bad in the world's eyes. So they're going to hush it. They're going to give counter stories and counter narrative. And at the same time, they're just being buttressed by the fact that no one's going to hold them accountable. Right?
Yeah.
There should be a minimum Nigeria security presence. All
Mm,
the super Tucanos and the helicopters that they have now, all those generals and majors who've been trained overseas, either in Pakistan and India and the US, getting top rated training, coming back, they should be able to do something. Speak less of having African Union or the ECOWAS or troops in the surrounding countries. We're not saying Americans going to come in with the Marines and special forces and solve the day. We're not saying that, but without opening yourself up to accountability outside help, you're going to suffer. You're going to continue to fall down the slope. And meanwhile, again, country particular concern. No, they're okay. They look like they're doing better. So we'll remove that list, that designation. We'll get them back. The world is not, for one, is not holding them accountable, not pushing, and two, the Nigerian government is not making it available to accountability. So
yeah.
yeah,
And like you even raised like another issue. Probably we should do like a episode on it. And call it maybe follow the money. How much funding has Nigeria gotten for insecurity alone? Over
it's
like
like the
over
new malaria, the new AIDS.
yeah.
You remember
You
AIDS and
know,
malaria came out? There's so much money available. People were lying and deceiving grants and whatever. Say, I do AIDS, I do mosquito, malaria. The money goes missing, doesn't get what it's supposed to be used for. Same with security. We don't know what all that money's going for. We don't know how those instruments of destruction are going to be used. Are they going to use them on the terrorists, on the militants, or are they going to use them on civilians that they don't like or oppose them or something? So I think it's a huge thing. I mean, look, in one day today, in less than an hour, we've talked about, I'm counting the deaths here, 21, 22, 28 deaths easily, right? From the 6
mhm,
soldiers to the priest that was killed to the young girl that was lynched, and then the 20 that were beheaded.
yeah,
We shouldn't be talking about 28 deaths in a show, AJ. This should be a show where we talk about the struggles to get back on its feet, to bring the economy back up, to choose the right candidate, to vote. We're not even talking about that. We don't have time to talk
yeah,
about that because it's not first and foremost right now.
yeah, yeah,
How can you have an election in a year that is like this?
yeah, yeah. Yeah. Already people are afraid. So let me even tell you like my own story. The first time ever that I went to vote in Nigeria was for a local government chairperson. And that day, I think the person that was, or one of the people that were running for government was a teacher in my school. So we were told since we were old enough to go to a particular place and vote. And it was about maybe like 30 of us inside our class, boys that were eligible to go and vote. So we went to go and vote. And that day, people wanted to like beat us up. Like the opponent side, they were saying that there's no way all of us are going to come to that particular ballot place and vote or what, because they probably saw us as like a threat. Our teachers were like begging on their knees, please just these are students, let them go, or what. And just even just the trauma, even just the trauma of that, seeing that and like what my teachers had to go through just to let us go,
Yeah, yeah,
just always puts a fear for me to stand in any line by any ballot, because then it means that anything can happen. As
yeah,
you're innocently staying there trying to exercise your right, others are there to make sure that you don't exercise your right,
yep,
you know?
yep. You get damned if you do and damned if you don't. You get stopped if you're trying to help. I mean, that's what everyone's calling, these calls to get people to fill out their
That
voter
is it that
registration or whatever stuff.
PVC
Yeah,
card or whatever? Yeah.
POV. Yeah. I mean, that the reason is because that electoral law now says that it's supposed to, like, so if Kaduna State has 1 million registered voters, and
Mhm.
yet the returns on the presidential election is 600,000 voted for this person, and then 550 voted for this person, we had those numbers. That's over 1 million. So what the law says, like electoral law says, is that the whole count is wrong for that state. It's canceled because you went above and beyond. How did those other 150,000 votes get there? Where did they come from?
Yeah.
So that's why the people are telling go register to vote. Good, great. In a perfect world, that's great. But you're hearing stories of people being bussed in. These stories go out. People being bussed in to register to vote in this state, then they get bussed over to this state. Where's the truth? There's always a truth somewhere. There's always a grain of truth in all these stories. So I'm just skeptical of Nigerian elections at this point until they really get down to the registration bit and the actual voter registration. So
I mean, with all of the news that's going around about the election period, we're just one of the passengers on the plane, just waiting to see where it's all going to land. What is going to happen.
That's a bad analogy. Passengers on a plane. Sometimes those planes go down, AJ. Let's keep it on the road. I don't want to be on the. I don't want to be in the air. I want to be on the road. We're just passengers on the road. I like that one. Stay away from the air, man.
Because man, I mean, no one really knows. There are just too many forces and groups.
Speaking of passengers being a part of the process, we've been talking about Leah pretty much every week. We talk about her. I mean, she is to us the face of everything that's wrong in Nigeria. The fact that she was taken hostage, remains in hostage, that the government is failing to do anything is human rights, religious freedom, freedom of expression. It all wraps up into Leah's case, and we know that she represents countless others who are in a similar fate. So her birthday, her 5th birthday in captivity, comes up on Saturday. She'll turn 19 in captivity, so we're calling it birthday in captivity. It'll be live streamed on YouTube, on our YouTube channel. If you're watching this on YouTube right here, but if not, look, if you want to search YouTube, look icon help media, you'll find the link there. Subscribe, share, join us. It'll be live streamed, and then it'll also be a record you can stream on demand anytime you want. But it's coming up May 14th, this Saturday, 1 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Nigeria, West Africa time.
And we always try to use like her birthday and the actual day that she was captured with her friends to just raise more awareness about her story and how people can get involved. So if you've never heard about Leah, or if you don't know what her story is, or even the Nigerian situation, this is a great opportunity. I think we have some friends that are going to come and speak on parts of what they have learned and some of the issues that are going on in Nigeria, and also pleading for Leah Sharibu and for more people to get involved on that particular day. So please save the date, join us on YouTube, and help continue to raise the awareness. I do know we do have a video, just a brief one from Leah's mother, just kind of pleading for Leah and kind of just sharing where she is at right now, and the need for other voices to help her kind of speak on Leah's behalf. So I know Icon is really speaking up for her alongside the Leah Foundation, and just bring hope to Nigeria, bring hope to Leah, and continue to speak up.
Yep. So you can play that video and then we're done.
Yeah, we're gonna play that video. All right. So
all right. Thanks for joining us this week.
Thank you for joining us. Thank you.
Yeah, next week.
Yeah.
To a gaskiya muna jin ba daɗi, muna cikin yanayi ne mai wahala, amma sai Allah kaɗai shi ya sani. So muna roƙon gwamnati, ko da shike ya yi ta alkawali ba ɗaya ba, ba biyu ba, ba uku ba, amma har yanzu ba mu galiya ba. To har yanzu ba za mu yi shiru ba, don yarmu ba za mu manta da ita ba za mu yi shiru ba. Muna kan roko kamar yanda ya kusa ya sauka, ya yi kokari ya fitar mana da wannan yarinya kafin ya sauka domin mu zo mu ji daɗi mu ma. Ni dai na gani kamar kawai ba su ga dama ba ne, shine kawai shi ya sa suka bar min yarinya na a wurin. In ba haka ba ya isa, shugaba Buhari ya isa ya fitar min da yarinya na, amma sun bar min yarinya na kawai da gangan ne, kawai shi ya sa ba su fitar da ita ba. Abin sa
shekaru
19 kuma tana da shekara 4 yanzu a captivity. Ni dai abin da zan gaya mata ta kara haƙuri akan haƙuri, kuma ni har yanzu ina kan gode mata domin abin da ta yi, domin da ba ta yi haka ba da duniya ma ba su san ta ba, duniya ba su san mu ba. Amma yadda ta daure ba ta musunci Yesu ba, har yanzu ina kan mata godiya, kuma muna kan addu'a, duniya gaba ɗaya suna kan addu'a har yanzu. Mu muna jira lokaci ne na Allah, komi na Allah ne, muna jira lokaci ne na Allah. Idan lokacin Allah ya yi, in Allah ya yarda ita ma za ta fita.